Hey y'all, it's Caitlin. So, for December's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you a very simple craft of how to make a Pokeball ornament with a small Pokemon figure. You can obviously, if you want to get more crafty, sculpt the Pokemon figure. This is just one I got out of a package from like Amazon, I think it was, or something, I don't know. And I also got these ornaments from Amazon. You can just click in craft ornaments and they'll pop up and you choose the size you want. So, I don't know what happened to the very first part of me doing this, because you can see the little white spot on the ornament for the button of the Pokeball is already there. And yeah, I still have to use pliers to open my paint, but it's already there. I can see the footage on my phone from where I made that dot. I do not see it when I link it up to my computer to download it onto the software. So I don't know what the heck happened, but it ain't there no more. But anyway, so we're just going to start from where you do the little black line around the button and across the ball. So, oh, by the way, I'm making this into a repeat ball because I have caught a buttload of Eevee in Pokemon Go, and yeah, it just seemed to fit. So the biggest trick with making these ornaments, it is a really simple craft to do. It really is. But the one thing you have to be conscious of is where that first stroke of paint goes. I didn't show it on here because I did it because it happened off camera and I didn't want to waste time turning the camera on. But later on I did make a mistake with the black paint and I had to wash it off really quickly with water. Because obviously this is a clear piece, it's two-sided, so if you make any mistake when you're first putting it on there, it's going to show through the other side even if you cover it up. So if you do make a mistake, acrylic paint, when it's still wet, washes off really easy with water. So just work really quickly. I just dab a plastic bristle paintbrush into water and use it kind of like a scrub brush almost on the paint, and then just use paper towels to wipe it up. But again, you really need to be conscious of where that first stroke of paint goes, and especially since this is such a smooth plastic and the paint I have can be very liquidy, like this black one I'm using now. You really have to be careful to wait for one color to dry before moving on to the next color. Now you can see, before I do the yellow spots, you see how that white button isn't perfectly circle. Well, it's still not going to be perfectly circular, but I did go in and repaint that part. It just depends on where that very last part goes. Why did I move that paper into the frame? That has literally nothing to do. Anyway, I don't know, but it just depends on where that first stroke of paint goes. If you mess up on the inside after that, you can just cover it up like you usually do with any type of paint job. So now I am going in with my yellow. By the way, it took about 3 coats of black to make it as less streaky as possible, I guess you could say. So now I'm going in with the black and painting those circular yellow lines around the top part of the Pokeball. And also, I am doing this on, you can't really tell it, but you can see that little rim where the two sides of the ornament connects. I'm painting on the side where from the inside of the Pokeball you can't feel that rim. In other words, the inside of it is completely smooth. The lip of it is on the outside of the ornament. That'll just make it easier to paint on the edges. If you use the other side, you may be a little wonky when it gets to the edges, so yeah, just a little tip. That's why I moved those pictures closer to me, so I would remember to cut them out and put them in resin. Now I remember. But those molds have literally nothing to do with this video. But anyway, so I'm taking a smaller brush now and going around or painting the inside of those yellow spots, circles, whatever, black, just to match the pattern on the repeat ball. And obviously you can just be super simple with it and paint a regular Pokeball, you know, red on top, white on bottom, and be done with it. I just really like to paint this kind of stuff, so I do the more intricate ones. I started with a quick ball, that was my favorite one, and I don't really like to use repeat balls too much in the game because I don't like catching the same Pokemon over and over and over. The one downside with Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, but anyway. But yeah, just if you want to be more creative with it, just be fun because there's a ton of Pokeball options to choose from, or just make up your own. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, if you want to just be simple and quick with it, which this kind of project is anyway, but if you want to be even more simple with it, just use the red and white color scheme. Because the two colors didn't touch, the black and the white, I'll go ahead and paint the white part of the Pokeball while the black up top is still wet. You just want to make sure that the colors that touching aren't wet at the same time so they don't mix. Again, especially if you have a very liquidy paint. So if you're painting a wide surface, obviously it's better if you use a wide angled brush like I'm using here. You'll probably still need several coats. The yellow took about 3 to 4. I want to say the lighter coats take longer to make them less streaky. I don't know if watering down the paint works on the smooth plastic like it does on vinyl. I imagine it does, but I've never tried it before. But if you guys want to, go for it. And also it helps if you're using less chunkier paint. Acrylic paint in time, it'll either get super, super liquidy or really, really chunky. The white got really, really chunky. The black got really, really liquidy. So yeah, I need new paint. And again, because there's dry paint in between the colors, I go ahead and layer on my first coat of red as well. So obviously if people aren't into Pokemon but you're still watching this video, thank you. But obviously you can see a repeat ball. It looks almost exactly like a regular Pokeball except for those little red and not red, but yellow and black circles up top. Now the red, remember when I said when lighter colors are harder to make opaque on this stuff? Sorry if you just heard the thing on my laptop go off. I need to plug it up. But this red is even worse because it was like the black. It got really liquidy at time. So definitely, if you're a first-time crafter, go out and buy your own paint. You know, don't borrow old stuff from a friend. They'll probably still let you borrow it, but it's best to get the newer stuff anyway. And it's not all that expensive. I think at Walmart you can get each of these paints for like 50 cents each or something like that. Not really that expensive at all. But you can see I'm using a smaller brush to go very carefully around the edges. I still mess up and had to go back in with the yellow and cover it up. But again, as long as those first strokes are good and as even and straight as possible, you're okay. This has literally nothing to do with the Pokeball we're making now, but this is a separate ornament and I wanted to just quickly show you guys how you can pretty easily make a frosted glass look. If you want to make your own ornaments for any kind of figures, you know, something that just has a bit cooler of an effect. So this is the same Mod Podge, matte Mod Podge that I use to as varnish for my painted crafts and customs. All I do is take a little bit of that, pour it directly into there, and you can see I'm turning it so that all the edges are covered, or at least mostly. And I'm using a paintbrush just to get it all the way to the edge. I don't want to use a paintbrush all the way around it because it'll show streaks, but just doing it a little bit to make sure every single, you know, edge is covered is okay. It doesn't show too much. And sometimes you do need a couple coats of this. I would recommend putting it upside down on a surface that you can very easily peel it up with, like maybe a Ziploc or a sturdy paper plate or something like that. Something where the glue won't stick to as much. That way it'll pour out without pooling at the bottom and making a weird stain in the center of the plastic. But again, after a couple coats of this, you'll have a beautifully frosted glass. The ornament I showed you just now didn't turn out quite the way I wanted to, but this one turned out perfectly. This is another little craft I made. This is actually part of my mom's Christmas present, because I told you guys before, she has a thing for snowmen. And all of that, besides the little balls of snow you see at the bottom, are made out of polymer clay. Let me know if you guys would be interested in a polymer clay tutorial. My sculpting skills still aren't the best, but you can see they're okay. Still not. No one asked me how that R2-D2 magnet with the antlers in the background turned out, because it wasn't good. C-3PO turned out okay. R2-D2 not so much. I have to redo him. But anyway, so here you see me using that same matte varnish to protect the paint on the inside. Now obviously this thing is going to be sealed up pretty much, so you don't have to worry about it scraping off too bad, but this is also the side where we're going to put the Eevee. If you saw the Alolan Vulpix one in my Christmas tour decoration video, whatever, I forgot what I titled that video. I think it was just Christmas decor or something like that, I don't know. But if you saw that, you saw the really ugly glue spot in the front. It's more stable that way if you put the glue straight on the plastic instead of straight on the paint, but it looks horrible. So I've been doing this. I put a couple coats of that varnish on, at least 2 or 3, and I always use that side now to hot glue the figure onto, just so it looks a little bit better. And now to hot glue the figure in. So you want to place the figure in there first. Well, you wanted to place the figure in there before you ever started, just to make sure it fit. But you want to put it in there so you know where to put the glue. In this case, it's on the back of Eevee's tail and on the back of her back 2 paws. I know most Eevees, if you look at the stats in the Pokedex, are mostly male. I still think they're mostly female. I don't know. I just go in between. So anyway, the one in Let's Go Eevee, the one I got, is male. But anyway, just put a little dab of hot glue in all 3 of those places and set it in there very gently and wait for it to dry. So these are the same little styrofoam balls you just saw in the snowman ornament. Obviously, it looks like snow, so it's easy to use instead of like sculpting snow or something like that. And it's actually used for slime stuff. That's what it said on the packaging when I bought it. It was like slime, whatever, beads, I think. I don't know. I bought it back when slime was the biggest obsession. It was easy to find. You can use that fake snow stuff that they have now. I kind of want to pick up a pack of it just to see how it would work with these ornaments. I imagine you could use it exactly the same way. I really need to like find a cheap bag of it or something and try it. But anyway, so I scoop a couple tablespoonfuls, or maybe that's half, I can't remember. I put some in there, try to get all of them off that stick to it. They're not sticking to that because of the resin residue. They're sticking to that because they are like little magnets. I cannot tell you how many times I worked with these things, looked down and like an hour later and it was like a ball of it was on my pants, so... So here, you carefully, I don't know what's going on right there, but I must have saw something on there. But anyway, I had the wrong thing, that's why. I'm an idiot. But anyway, once you have the correct side of the ornament, go ahead and put it together. See how the snow level evens up with the figure you have in there. And if you feel like it could use a little bit more, simply take it apart and put some more in. I know it's completely out of frame. Or take some out, depending. I thought that was a pretty good amount right there. So after everything is done, you need to seal up the ornament. I just use a piece of tape on the bottom. You can use glue, but I just use that in case the figure ever comes loose. I can go back in and re-glue it or fix the paint up. But yeah, after that, you just hang a hook on the ornament and put it on the tree. And there you have a custom-made Pokeball ornament with your favorite Pokemon figure inside. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this. I wanted to make a really simple kind of tutorial video for the holiday season because I know a lot of you guys aren't crafters and you're just watching this for entertainment pretty much. which is perfectly fine with me. But I figured if any of you guys ever did want to do this, a holiday video, you would probably want something pretty simple to do. This wouldn't take more than a day if you just sat down and did it. And if you had better quality paint than I did. But yeah, really fun, really simple, and still pretty nerdy. So I figured it was perfect for my December craft video. So I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you guys so much for watching. And like always, remember, it's a community and not a competition. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.